Hello everyone and welcome back to the Jayville Tech channel. I know it's been a little while since I've done one of these videos. So far I've only done the classroom setup video. It was awesome and riveting. But I do plan to make up for that as I've got a schedule over the next, between now and Christmas, of about 6 or 8 different videos that I'm going to try and get out. This first one's actually going to be on our Chromebook classroom management system. If you remember last year, we had a system that was called Orchestrator. Allowed you to view the Chromebooks and see what the kids were actively doing on their screens. They have changed that. It's updated a little bit, so I'm going to do this video on this. It's now called Classroom Relay. This is also part of our filtering that we use on the Chromebooks. So it has a massive knowledge available in it. To start off, if you want to open your Chrome browser and go to classroom.relay.school, when you go there it'll look like this. And I do recommend you using the Chrome browser on this and making sure that you're signed into it. I know most of you use this already, so this will make things easier across the board on some other things. So if you're signed into your Chrome browser, you can just click down here, sign in with Google. It's going to take you to a page to select your account. So you select the one with your school email, and then it's going to take you to this landing page. Now, up here in the upper left hand corner, there's going to be a drop down. Now in this drop down, it's going to have all your classes. Now this syncs with your Google Classroom. So if you don't ever archive your classes, this might be a rather lengthy list. Some of these classes are some old upload classes that I done back whenever we first started that I've got to clean out, and I'll try and figure that out in the next few months. But for now, it's going to have every class that's ever been assigned to you in here. But the first time you go in, it's going to look a little bit, if I remember which class is the right one, it's going to look like this. The first time you launch one of your classes, it's going to ask you for a schedule. Now, this schedule is typically when you have this class, because if you don't use the schedules, you'll end up could possibly end up seeing other students in other classes and seeing what they're doing. This kind of helps with that. So you'll see this button down here. It says Configure Schedule. So click that. It's going to come up at first with a bell schedule. With our current setup, I can't set a bell schedule just because of the different variance in days, and it's this way for middle school, this way for high school, and this way for elementary. So you're going to need to set a custom schedule. So you go hit that drop down and select custom. You should just be able to hit the plus sign here. Now for the high school classes, I know y'all have Monday, Wednesday, and then a different time on Friday. So if you wanted to select Monday, Wednesday, make it 12:30. Now, this does run on a military time schedule for afternoon. So just remember, if you're not familiar with military time, it's 12 plus whatever time you think it is. So if your class is at 2 o'clock, that would make it 1400. So you set that in there and say you got a different schedule for Friday. Your class is supposed to be at 11:50 on Friday to whatever time. You'd set that schedule, and then you would save it. So that sets your schedule for this class. Now I'm going to switch classes here because this class doesn't have anybody in it. I'm going to switch over to my tech training class. Now this, of course, is all of your accounts, the teacher accounts. Whenever you get in here, this is going to be your kind of default landing page for each class. Just to go over a few things, this insights up here at the top is going to show you if they may be doing unusual browsing. I haven't really exactly figured out what that means yet. But whenever you click on one, it's going to bring up this other tab, and we'll go over this in just a second. I kind of want to hit a few other things here before we start switching around this page. Up here in the upper left-hand corner, just below your drop down for your classes, you have 3 buttons. One, this will allow you to share an item with the class. If you just want to share a link, or share a screen, then that would allow you to do that. I'm not going to do that here because I don't want to interrupt your classes. There's also the lock screen button. That'll lock every screen in the class. I think it either just turns it black. It's been a little bit since I've done that. And then you have this button here. Now this button's kind of a little bit more important. If you hit the drop down, you can turn the internet completely off for your students. So they've already gotten into docs or whatever they're needing to work in that day, and you don't want them back on the internet. You can just turn it off. Or if you want to lock them or block them from a specific page, you'd click that custom. Now, in the custom here, there's two different buttons. There's a restrict browsing to the listed, and then there's blocked access to listed. If you say you only want them to go to YouTube, you'd put that in there. If you had more than one site you wanted them to go to, like maybe Microsoft, just as long as you have one website per line, it's fine. Or if you want to keep them from YouTube, so the first button makes it to where they can only go to those specific pages. The second button blocks them from those specific pages. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, if you keep, if this was an assignment and they're only supposed to do so many things, you can check mark this box down here. What that does is whenever the student selects that they're done with that assignment, it removes this filtering and sends them back to their default filter. I'm going to click cancel because I don't want to block y'all from anything right now. And of course, continuing on down this left side of the screen, it's going to show how many kids you've got working, if they need help, if they're done, and then what sites they're currently on and how many are on each site. So over here in the center part of the screen, we have a couple different options here. You can have this list view like this, or you can do a screen view. This here uses color coding to kind of monitor them. But if you wanted to see all their screens, you just hit this show all screens and hit continue. And at that point, it's going to show you whatever they're actively doing on their screen. And it used to be a 3-second delay, or every 3 seconds the snapshot changed, but it seems to be a little bit more toward the live side of things now. I'm going to switch back over to this list view and go over a few things here. In this section here, you see current browsing and then their most viewed options. This here shows what they're actively on. We've got some on Kodi, we've got one watching Netflix, and then this shows their most viewed. This here at the end, and I think this may be a little bit different for y'all, and shows how many tabs they have open, but in mine it just shows their recent sites. It may show the same for you, but I don't really remember for sure. So I'm going to pick on Miss Spears a little bit here, Judy Spears. I'm going to select hers. Now whenever you click on a student, it's going to come up and show what they're actively doing on their screen. Now across the top here, this shows how many open tabs she's got. She's got 18 open tabs. Her screen's looking a lot like mine. The browsing history. Now on the teachers, it's not really going to show as much of a browsing history because we don't have the filter set on them. They're just set on Chromebooks. And then if you've had any recordings from this person. You can also click over here at the edge and send them a message. So you can ask them if they need help or they've done a great job. I would think there'd be an option to send a custom message, but I haven't quite found that yet. So if I run across that, I'll either shoot a quick message out about how to do it, or we'll shoot another video. Over here, where you see their active screen, down along this right-hand side, it's got 4 different buttons. Of course, this bottom button is record. That button, I think, goes back a few seconds to start the recording and then records for 10 minutes for their activity. So if you've got a student that you're suspecting is flipping between things and trying to do things kind of covertly, you can do a recording and then go back and watch it, and it'll locate it here in this tab under them. The next one up is to unlock their screen. Of course, you only need that if you've actually used the one above that to lock their screen. So a student is doing something that they don't need to do and you know it, you can just lock their screen and say, hey Johnny, we need to talk. Or if you'd like to share that student screen, you can click this button and it should share it amongst the rest of the students. Now down here below, their live session, it has all the tabs that they've got open and which ones that they've been kind of actively using. So this is her Google Slides, Our Code, this is code.org, another one she's been to recently. All right, so fairly straightforward. The biggest thing is getting that classroom setup going. So let's say we do have one of those days that you've got a class that has we've had a snow day, so on Friday, instead of having for the high school classes, instead of having all the classes straight through, we've got to change the time for that class. So we would select the class, and up here at the top, even though it says it here, you can click to view the schedule. So if it's not time for that class, this is what shows up at the top, and then you can go in and edit that class's schedule. So that's really all that I have for you today on the Classroom Relay. I really hope that you use this. We've got 2 or 3 teachers that I've already heard from that have figured this out and have really liked the changes that they've made to it. And I hope that you do. And if you have any trouble with it, just please shoot me an email or shoot me a work order. Again, like I said at the beginning of the video, I do plan on releasing several videos over the next few weeks. If you have any comments on how you think I should change these videos to make them easier to watch, because I know I get kind of boring at times, but then please post that as a comment in the bottom. Please like it, share it, make sure your fellow teachers see it. I'm just here to try to help. That's really what I'm going for. I want y'all to know what you have available, and I want you to be able to use it. So join me again next time here on the Jayville Tech channel, and we'll see you in the classroom.